Hello again, folks. This is your boy Vendetta back again with another episode of Furtime Talktime. And as you join me in the fabulous wonders of space. Why? Because I have no idea.
Space.
And by the way...
That's why.
Yeah, space.
Space.
And, if you're wondering who this little toaster of a person is, this over here...
Gremlin thing, yeah.
Yeah, this is the one and only SledgeLP. And you just... I think I'll just tell them who you are. Just introduce yourself. Tell them about who you are, what you do. Yep, I'll just throw the introductions over to you.
Hi, I'm Sledge. I'm done. That's it. No, I'm Sledge. Hi, Sledge.
And I'm an no. I do Twitch stuff, YouTube stuff, mainly Twitch stuff now.
And I've been doing content creation for around 12 years. And I do a lot of different stuff, variety of things from just about every heckin' corner around. Do you mind if I swear? Or
Yeah, you're all
censor
good.
myself.
Yeah, you're all good.
Oh, I do fucking everything, just about. So, yeah.
And yeah, right now my main focus is Twitch, and I just continually be stupid and
Arguably terrible at games while doing it.
Alright, I guess it's...
And somehow not bouncing off walls. Today, at least.
Yep.
I know, I'm tired.
Alright. Alright, I guess with the introductions out of the way, without further ado, let's dive right into it. So Sledge, my first question for you is, what made you start streaming?
oh boy. So it's kind of weird. I've gone on Twitch off and on. I actually first did some streams mainly as like being able to get, recording. I did more of a recording thing. This is like 5 years ago. I wasn't really considering myself a streamer at that point. Then I did a few streams of Beat Saber when I was like 3 years ago as like a, hey, I'm trying to exercise, and that lasted about a week, and then I didn't do it anymore. But this time it's mainly been a case of, since Discord has been a thing and something that a lot of people have gotten into, I have always enjoyed being able to just kind of show my games and show stupid things going on. So usually if I'm in a voice call, half the time I'm streaming a game, because from my computer I'm usually playing games. And that kind of turned into this kind of thing of, after I got to meet a few people and be here in VR chat again and meeting people, I kind of seen a few people doing streams and I'm like, that could be fun. So went into it, started with the game called Into the Radius, and then ended up getting some modicum of success, at least for someone who's starting out, having more than just 1 or 0 viewers. 3, 4, 5, 7 people watching sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, cool, alright, we'll just keep doing this. And it kind of blew up from there. Eventually. But really, just, in short, I like to show games to people. I like to show cool things.
Yep. Alrighty then. Alright, let's move on. Alright. Alright, Sledge. So, my next question for you is, primarily, what got you into the furry fandom in the first place?
Ah, shit. I feel like this is a long and complicated answer.
Please answer as long as you'd like.
Because the problem is, I don't No. I think the closest start, and it's kind of weird for this, I don't know, I think would be... Okay, there's a few instances. Back in high school...
You know, for me, furry just kind of wasn't a thing I was as aware of as much.
I had a friend who happened to have like some like cat ear things and a husky tail or something like that. And all I remember is an old picture of me sitting in a reclining chair with these things on, kind of having the smug look and my jacket on at the time. And so maybe that was like the first tiny spark. The next part was, and I'm not that it's a bad thing, but it's one of those things I'm like, yeah, that isn't really me anymore, was ending up being a brony. And I was one of the very interesting people, because I remember being on college campus and I had a freaking rainbow dash hoodie with the whole like rainbow mane, little tiny fucking wings on the back of this light cyan jet hoodie. Yeah, not judging anyone, but it was pretty cringe.
And it just kind of kept going from there, but I never really
Associated myself as a furry. But I always kind of kept going with different furry kind of, aspects. And slowly started going into things. I think one of the big things then, during those college years, was a game, a kind of a cult classic game that still has its audience, called Space Station 13, and it basically had space Khajiit, space cat people, and as a race, and that was my main character that I had on there, and it was a role-playing
kind of server.
I did that for a good few years, moved into World of Warcraft, ended up playing Worgen as my main character, because, big old wolf person. Awesome. And also was the natural translation, because I just made my Space Station 13 character in there. And I think that's when I really started considering myself a furry, and then came VR chat. And then seeing protogens, and I was like, that looks kind of cool. And I still remember one specific day, I kind of was just hanging out, vibed with some people in Fur Hub during my first times in like VR chat, and on the spot found someone who, one of those people was an artist, and I was like, you know what, I can commission you. Let me make a quick like ref sheet in MS Paint, basically filling in this like template, made myself into a protogen, gave it to them, and then I would say that's the point I definitely consider myself actually a furry. Like I said, long and complicated and winding road to get to that point.
But
yeah.
That is, I do have to say, that is quite a more interesting story of how I got into the fandom.
Oh.
Because I did know what a furry was back in March of 2020, but I've only really started getting into it in August when VR Omegle was a thing, with Minikane and all that. And then I started looking into it a bit deeper when I saw those videos, and yeah, it just went uphill from there.
Uphill or downhill?
Up.
Uphill, you'd be like, must become furry. Let's go. Downhill would be like, oh boy, here we go. Now I'm becoming a furry.
All right.
I just imagine I must
be furry goals. Let's go.
All right, let's move on. So in one of my previous questions, you said that you basically switched from recording side of things to streaming side, transitioning from YouTube to Twitch. So what was that transition like for you?
Well, it wasn't really so much a transition, but just kind of more of a trying a new thing. For me, YouTube started as a constant let's go, putting out videos and stuff like that. And then eventually I kind of slowed down, and instead of trying to make content, I just made things for myself. Videos I wanted to see, videos between me and my friends, and the view counters definitely reflected that. Nothing really ever got more than 10 views. Because, YouTube is hard to break through on. So it really wasn't a transition, it was just kind of a, I feel like doing this kind of thing. Because it just sometimes off and on, I'm like, I get inspiration, hey, make a video, and then nothing.
For me, for you to, why I wanted to do it is because, well, I thought about Twitch for like a good little while, but I was just like, you know what, I want to do my own thing. Everyone's doing Twitch. I'm just like, the TikToks were just like, they were just too short for me to put out videos. I mean, don't get me wrong, I could do TikTok later, but right now that making a bit longer videos is my main focus at this time, so YouTube's where I wanted to be right now. I might consider doing it in the near future, but yeah. All right, I guess we'll move it forward. All right, so my next question, it is, what's your ultimate goal for being a streamer?
I have current goals, obviously. I don't think really as any kind of content creation or streaming anything you can really have an ultimate goal, because at the end of the day those goals are going to keep moving, they're going to be fluid, and your ambitions are going to kind of change over time with different things, such as right now, obviously I've made my switch to full-time this week, and right now I'm trying to make that push for partner, which I know is still, I may be pushing, but it's still a ways off, and it's probably still a few months out. So that's the current goal, but as an ultimate goal,
I mean, that's what I meant by that.
really just being, yeah, okay. Oh. It seems more like a current goal, because ultimately, if there's an ultimate goal, I've already met it. I'm here. The fact that was able to leave my job to be able to do this and be able to kind of get my life in order like that and be able to balance out what I'm wanting to and entertain people, then my goal's met. Ultimately.
Okay, so this might be, you can take your time and think about this, but my next question is, what's like a memory during your streaming that you want to cherish forever? Like, what I meant by that is like, what's your favorite memory during your streaming path?
That's a pretty easy one here. There's kind of a general group now. I feel like it started. But I can pick one, and it's one I've considered to myself to be my favorite 25 minutes of stream that I've ever done. And it was the closing out of my 75-hour stream. And we had started playing all these different songs at the final end here. And it started with playing Midas's Try. I nearly completed it and failed it at the last minute, but then we went on to a Tetris Effect soundtrack bit for All Connected, and going with the Fat Rats' Never Be Alone, and those three songs together are just kind of that perfect combination. And I kind of had that moment that hit me that we ended up making a difference together, raising over 3.2k for Ukraine, and that was something I was wanting to do, and I wanted to do something for that sooner, but I finally got to do it then to help organize that. And it was just kind of that culmination of everything that I want my community to stand for: being charitable, being kind to each other, being together and connected like that. And it was just that kind of perfect moment and feeling as we went towards the closing out of that stream. And there's multiple times I've gone back and watched that full 25 minutes there. And even as I was switching out of Beat Saber into VR chat to close it out, I put on what I call basically our kind of theme song, which is Never Be Alone from the Fat Rat, and just had that play, and it ended perfectly with right when I finished getting ready and into VR chat. And it was just, I had that smile there, and it's just it's perfect. It's perfect, and I love every second of that bit.
It's usually like that with
Beat Saber closes, because music kind of binds a lot of people together.
So, my next question for you is, who is someone that you look up to?
Well, there's certainly a few people on there. I think out of people I've taken some inspiration from, or more. Let me put it like this: there's two people who I have always kind of gone to as mentors, because they've kind of been on the path I've already been on. They are making it their own way, and they have their experiences. For the longest time, it was primarily looking at Woody. As soon as I basically helped him with making a trailer and helping him with editing a bit, he's gotten better with his own editing now too, and he's kind of picked that up a bit more. But being able to kind of look up to him as like especially with the vibe and the truthfulness that he gives off. He doesn't really lie or anything. He's not dishonest. He doesn't hide a truth. He's a very honest person, and he's stayed like that through streaming. So he's always been someone I've looked up to on my own journey now. And the other one, of course, is Bardic. Just because they have been, especially right now, as I've been making my transition to full-time, he's been a wealth of information and help and support. He has been, as I've been growing this year. He helped keep me a bit more grounded on what I should be doing, because I was going to possibly overwork myself. with my ideas for scheduling, and Woody also pointed it out too, and there are people who I definitely feel like I can listen to all the time and be able to trust their advice and trust their words, to know what they're talking about. And they've both succeeded in their own ways. So that would be my main sources of inspiration and people I look to for how I can improve myself and do things better.
Yeah.
And I almost forgot. Heartwood as well. Heartwood has been very inspirational on how they do things. Like, for them, one of the biggest things that has become like a main part of my streams has been implementation of stream loots, and they gave me, especially to start, a lot of inspiration on where to go, how to do things. They helped me with my partner application to them, and so they've also been a very instrumental help to me that I'll be always thankful for.
Yeah, I think for me, there's a lot of people who I look up to, but for me, I think there's 3 main people who I would definitely look up to, as like the same way for you, like looking for help with content creation, and they are Tempest, Woody, and a Key, because those 3 have really given me the courage to do this. And Woody also gave me the courage to I am to do this with
Twitchy hands.
to actually follow my dreams, to actually do round 2 of getting into content creation again.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's good.
All right. So the next question for you is there any advice you would give to anyone out there who may be looking to start streaming or YouTube or any content creation of some sorts?
All right.
I have a good few, as again, someone who has been going for 12 years and, you know, didn't have any what anyone would call any kind of success until literally this year. One of the things you have to go at it as is go at it for yourself. Make it a hobby. Because you can try and go and look at all these different people and be like, oh, I want to be just like them. And I don't mean this in like a discouraging kind of way, but more of a be realistic with what's going on. That way you don't disappoint yourself, and that way you don't, you know, make yourself be like, oh, well, this doesn't feel like it's working. Why am I doing it? And that's make stuff for yourself. Make things for your own enjoyment, and not necessarily so that you can try and grow and be, you know, become big or something like that off of it. Because that's exactly what I did for the longest time. I made these videos for myself. I look back at my old YouTube stuff and I'm like, this is garbage now. But I had fun with it back then. I've had fun with it throughout every time I've done it. And for me, I've always been very proud of what I've done. And at the end of the day, that's what really matters. Are you happy with what you're doing? or are you doing it just to chase something that maybe isn't you? And so that's the kind of pitfall that I think some people may try to fall into. At risk of maybe stepping on a few people's toes here, the one thing I see is people trying to go at things like streaming, especially for money. And it's obviously great if you can. It's a very comforting thing, but I fear that a lot of people get into it for the wrong reasons then, for money first and for their enjoyment and their hobby and their passion later. And that frankly doesn't bring out the best of content. Then you're not being there. You're not bringing you. You don't bring yourself to that. You're bringing what you think other people want. And at the end of the day, what makes, and this is something I kind of heard recently, like literally last night, and I kind of realized that's completely true, that people will come for a variety of reasons. People will stay for you. So that what you can best do is be yourself. Show who you are.
Yeah, and
That, and especially for streaming, this is the one that I have to keep on saying, and this one's kind of like maybe completely off the rails from that. Make sure you keep talking, be it to yourself, no one, literally just be crazy. Be crazy and talk to yourself and talk to the 5 different voices in your head. Because nothing, I feel like, at least for me, nothing makes me kind of tab out of a stream in less than 10 seconds then. They literally haven't said anything, I'm just watching the game. I could watch a game anywhere else. Again, it kind of goes back to the show them yourself. Show who you are and have someone stay for you, because ultimately you have all these other people who could be playing in this game, and you can show instead what makes it unique, being you.
I was about to say, so yeah, I will say, the only reason why I got back into it like almost a month ago is that I couldn't find the reason to do it. But now that I found that motivation and the reasons to go back at it, and believe it or not, when I first started YouTube, I was 13 when I started, and it was for, and I'm not making this up, it was for a camp, actually, a Minecraft YouTube camp. And so I did that for like a few weeks, and then I did another, and then I did it again for another, but then I wanted to keep doing it, but then I just stopped. I just stopped afterwards, and then in 2020, I wanted to get back into it, but I couldn't find any motivation or any reason to do it. But now that I've found the right reasons to do it, is to do it for the people and just be yourself. It just really gave me that motivation.
Yeah. I know my answer isn't perhaps the most motivational of some people's answers, but there's plenty of people who give the very good motivational reasons too, and I feel the need to kind of be that extra bit of realist for things, because, like, I'll be honest, I lucked out. I happened to meet Woody and meet Bard outside of even really streaming. Actually, Woody I did meet through streaming. But right place, right time, right people, right actions. It very much can be a case of luck. So that's why you have to determine your means of success outside of just, well, how many people are watching me, because that can be a very slippery and toxic slope that you can go down if you let yourself have that be your metric of success, especially when you're starting out. If you're happy with the content and if it's something you can watch back, then that's awesome. That's something I do with my monthly highlight videos. They are good enough that I go back and just watch them. You know, every after a few days, I'll, like, especially while I was at work, I would just put them on my phone and listen to them while I was working at my job, because they meant that much to me, and to me they were that entertaining that I could just rewatch them myself. And so for me, those were truly successful. Even if on YouTube I don't get anything for views, I don't get any kind of attention, but I still make them because that's one of the things that matters to me. And making a good highlight video that people can see to bring all the emotions of the month together, that will always be a success for me, no matter how many people watch it.
I think another reason why I got motivated to do it again is the people, you know, people like you, Woody, Aki, Bardic. They want to support me and want to see me achieve my dreams of they want to watch me succeed. Like, you know, we're helping you succeed. You're just giving back.
Yeah, and I never want to see someone fail. It's never a fun thing to watch someone fail. It's ultimately, if everyone could win, then that would be amazing. So
Yeah.
to wish someone to fail is just,
Yeah.
it's not really right. For 99% of cases, some people are just terrible people, and then that's a different story. But you know, that's different. That's different.
Yeah, that's a different story. All right.
That was few people.
All right. I say we move on.
All right.
So, next question is kind of a basic one, but how has your perspective of VR changed over the last few years?
I don't think mine has changed too much, except for growing for the better. Though I will say there are some parts of me that I feel have grown more jaded. I of course was excited the first moment I got to use a VR headset at a party while I was in college. The first time. And eventually I ended up getting my, the CV1 Rift, and that was always a lot of fun. I was limited because my play space was so small because I had a queen size bed and basically a place that had a whole bunch of office stuff in it. So the only place I could do VR was standing on my bed. So obviously that skewed my perspective of what was possible because I couldn't do anything with it. But I think VR can be such a great tool, as well as expanding of the ability to be social with others. VR chat here is a perfect example where I can be myself and where I can connect with so many other people on a much more intimate level than just being able to talk to them or having some kind of, video call with someone. It has the potential to connect the world as long as we don't let basically what is now being this big ol' metaverse push being what defines it. Because I think it's a right idea, but right now there's a lot of corporate kind of how do we monetize this kind of issue where it's like, this is where I say where I become a bit more jaded with it, because everyone's like, oh, the metaverse, that's all you freaking hear. And they're like, oh, you can connect and do all these things, and oh, like, my mom was even telling me, oh, I saw this article, this report about, like, someone who's basically went into a hotel for 24 hours and spent 24 hours in VR, and the things they say they're doing, I'm like, okay, one, this isn't going to change a lot of stuff. Being able to use a computer is going to be much faster than trying to do it in VR. We will not have that tech for probably quite a while. But the fact that people try to put this off as, oh, it's a brand new thing, we're in the VR chat's been here for a while. We've been doing this for a while. We've been doing this for years. And so we just have to kind of be careful, I think, and not let people think that, you know, it's just now here. We've been able to do these things. It's just, don't let every corporation basically be like, oh, this is our thing, and oh, it's been here. We just need to make it more accessible, and then I think it will definitely, you know, expand how we interact with people, at least in a social aspect, and be able to hang out with people from across the world and be more connected in that way. I don't think it's the big end-all be-all new way to interact with everything like some people keep pushing. We just need more affordable headsets sometimes.
Yep.
I know that went on a bit of a tangent. But
Yeah.
whenever I hear perspective of VR, all I can think of is every news outlet saying Metaverse, and I'm like, stop using that stupid word.
Yeah.
It's meaningless.
The same way I feel about the Metaverse, but my perspective of VR, honestly, I've noticed a big change, because back in like before I found out about Beat Saber, my perspective of VR is just like, oh, VR is just like, I didn't really pay much attention to it, but then
It's a gimmick.
Yeah, it's a gimmick. I thought it was a gimmick at first, but then I remember buying, you know, one of those like plastic phone VR headsets, and that was enough to get me sold on VR. And then a few months go by, and I got myself the Quest 2, which I use now. And then a few months later, full body. So yeah, I did notice a perspective change for me over the last few years in VR.
Yeah. As a social aspect, I think there's a lot of potential, and also once we get more development for software for it. I think right now the hardware is generally pretty good. It just needs to be made more affordable for your average person. Which of course the Quest 2 has obviously gone a long way in doing that. It is easily the most affordable headset, if perhaps linked with a company that maybe isn't the best for it, but I think that's why they can make it that cheap. But yeah, once we have the software for everything, then that's really the main expansion point right now. So we still don't have there's a good few VR games, but there's just not a whole lot of big VR games. We still need some more of those. Half-Life Alyx, Boneworks, and Beat Saber are all kind of those big ones already, but we just need more big developers being able to do stuff like that instead of pushing for other things that people don't want. Looking at you, Ubisoft.
All right, let's move it on. All right, so this might be a bit of a tough one to answer, but in your honest
Give it to me.
opinion,
Come
in your honest opinion, what's the biggest challenge you had to face to get to where you are today, both on and off stream, or one or the other?
There certainly are a lot of challenges everywhere. Oh boy. I think at times, really, I think sometimes it's being able to find the time. Because especially as I've kind of been growing up, the world has kind of gotten a bit harder and harder to spend your own personal time, especially here in America. Things have been generally getting a bit harder and harder to be able to support things on your own and be able to have the time, be able to really have that negotiating power with a job to be able to find time to do things and have the energy to do things, because most people will have to work 50 hours, 60 hours, or get 2 jobs. I've been in all those situations. And that takes that much more energy away from doing things. And that was one of the reasons I ended up leaving my job. Even though, it's going to be a bit more interesting supporting myself. It's definitely a case now of I have the time to devote to more things, to doing things. Like even this week, I've been able to, since doing that, I've been able to actually edit stuff a bit more properly and spend more time on things. And just kind of keep a lot of things in my life together and going. So, I think definitely it's mainly been an off-stream kind of thing, and off-content is just having the energy to do it through work cycles, and a lot of people don't have that luxury of being able to have that time. As the unfortunate thing that I heard a lot in my workplace before I left was a lot of people were like, hey, overtime, 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 and so much of a culture now has been pushing to work to live instead of live. It's been more of a culture of live to work instead of working to live. So many things have been defined by jobs that a lot of people don't have time to really pursue their own hobbies and pursue their own interests. And so a lot of people have more now defaulted to just let themselves be entertained by their own by other things, and they just don't have the energy to be able to find what they want to do outside of their own work, to build their own kind of skills or crafts or hobbies that they can really go towards, which is definitely unfortunate.
Yeah, that's always a challenge. Even I face sometimes mainly with obviously mental health is honestly one of my biggest challenges I've had to face. Obviously throughout the pandemic, I just remember almost hitting my breaking point, and I'm just trying to find something to regulate myself, and just I guess the biggest challenge for me is just staying in control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
guess we'll move it on from here. Okay, so my next question for you is, what's the biggest change in yourself that you've seen as of right now, as to when before you found out about VR chat and before the pandemic even happened?
I think the pandemic is an easy one. I haven't. Because I was already doing everything that everyone was, self quarantine, self isolate, stay at home. I'm like, bet, all right. I was doing that anyway. But on the aspect of VR chat, actually no. Here's the one. I turned bisexual. I found out that through VR chat that I like pee-pee. So there we go. That would probably be the biggest change. I thought I was straight, but it turns out, nope.
I mean, for me, I would say the pandemic is nearly... I mean, as you said, I was fine with staying home because I was sometimes never the outdoors person, but sometimes I enjoy it from time to time, but...
There's bugs outside. Who wants that?
But it definitely... The pandemic nearly killed my social life, I'll just say. It nearly tore it to shreds, and when I found out about VR chat, I guess I kind of rebuilt it again. Through
for me, my social life has always been online, so for me, I already kind of had that structure of being able to do that built up, so for me, it never really affected me, because I don't really ever really have friends in person. Pretty much everyone I know is online at this point.
Yeah, I think it's the same with me now. Okay, let's just move it on. So, the last thing I want to ask you is there anyone out there that you want to thank for making this possible for you?
Oh shit, there's too many. Because
Go right
at
ahead.
the end of the day, to get anywhere in life, and that's not just with here making content, it has to do with everything. Every chance you get, everywhere you go, every opportunity you have, and all the things you learn, no one gets anywhere by themselves. No one, as the saying goes, pulls themselves up by their bootstraps, because that's impossible. You always need people to help you. And you should never be afraid to ask for help and to receive help. But if we're going to talk about streaming specifically, try and go in order, and I know I'm going to forget some people because there's definitely a lot.
You can just name a few.
When I started
Name them all. Orphan,
Rails, and I know I'm already forgetting someone. But, brain's half asleep right now, because it's like, I'm relaxing. For definitely being there at the start. Both of them were kind of the two I definitely looked up to when I first started. Woody has always been there as help for me, someone to talk to, and that's always been a two-way street. Bard has always been there. He's always said that he'll be there, and he's always given some great advice. There is my sister as well, for being so supportive and being with me for a lot of things, and always being that kind of grounding force that always pushed me to kind of pursue dreams and such. Oh boy, there's Wraith and Noah, Cloud Ripper, Hyper, Wolf, Zaddy, Lupile, all my mods who have been there from the start and continue to grow and grow. There were people who helped me get started, who helped me continue to keep going, and have started taking care of so many things, more things than I'm comfortable with them already doing. I'm like, guys, you don't have to, stop it. So many things that they take care of behind the scenes that I don't even, like, sometimes I don't even think about anymore, and they've always on top of things like that. And I don't know where I'd be without them. In that case. Shoot, who else? I think out of the main people, like, those are the big ones, and there's so many other people who have gotten me to where I am today. That like I said, it's impossible to really name all of them, and I don't want to keep naming names just because then I know I'll forget someone, and I don't want to make one of them feel bad because they have been, instrumental in their own ways on how they helped.
Yeah. And even if you forget someone, they'll still know. They'll still know that they helped you become the person that you are today.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess with that'll do it for another video. I will leave Sledge's Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok in the description below. But I guess other than that, y'all stay safe out there. Y'all take it easy. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Later, y'all. Bye. Sledge, god damn it. Okay.